I just made another video about not taking the things that Tyson Fury says too seriously. And here's another example. Then again, I mean, yeah, you're not going to take this seriously. But anyway, Tyson Fury has come out and said he would fight Deontay Wilder for free. And this is a recent article from a week ago, whatever it was. Yeah, he said he'd fight Deontay Wilder, sorry. Tyson Fury said he'd fight Deontay Wilder for free. He's not going to fight Deontay Wilder for free. But he's certainly going to fight Deontay Wilder for far less money than Anthony Joshua was going to fight Deontay Wilder for. He would never be offered the kind of money that Joshua was offered. Tyson Fury is not a world champion at this stage. He doesn't have any belts. So he doesn't really have many bargaining chips at the negotiating table with Deontay Wilder. So of course it's going to be easier to do a deal for Wilder Fury because Fury's not in a power position. Fury's not the A side. So of course it's going to be easy to do a deal. Fury's bringing nothing to the table other than his reputation. He's not bringing any serious money to the table. He's not bringing any belts to the table. Fury's not a pay-per-view fighter right now. He's only fought one pay-per-view, I believe. That was the Klitschko pay-per-view, right? And that was mainly pay-per-view because of Klitschko. Other than that, he ain't fought no pay-per-views. He was supposed to fight a pay-per-view against David Haye, but that fell through again. That was more because of Haye that was going to be a pay-per-view. So Fury's not a pay-per-view fighter. He's got no belts. He's coming off a 2.5-year layoff, drink and drug problems, overweight 100 pounds. He's bringing nothing to the table other than his reputation. That's it. So of course, a guy who's bringing so little to the table is going to be easier to do a deal with because he has to just take your terms and there's nothing he can negotiate with really. So if this Wilder Fury fight does get done, that's not necessarily indicative of Fury being a more straight up person than Joshua or Hearn. No, it's just indicative of the fact that he doesn't really have anything to negotiate with. Whereas Joshua does. He's got a lot more than Wilder to negotiate with. So, you know, a completely different situation. And as I say, there are different strokes for different folks. I mentioned previously that Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn had both said that the Eubanks were a nightmare to deal with. And maybe they were in those situations. But Kalle Sauerland said the Eubanks were very easy to deal with. So different situations, people are going to act in different ways. You know, the Eubanks were obviously happy with the terms of the World Boxing Super Series. So they were like, well, we'll do this deal. And it got done very, very quickly with Kalle Sauerland. But they weren't happy with Frank Warren, the terms he was offering. They weren't happy with Eddie Hearn, the terms he was offering. And so those deals were much more difficult to make. They were driving a much harder bargain for those deals. You know? So it all depends, man, on the situation. Anyway, drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel about this. Are any of you taking this seriously? Tyson Fury would fight Deontay Wilder for free. That's never going to happen. He's obviously not going to fight the man for free. He's going to take a certain purse. He's going to take as much as he can get from it, you know? So, I mean, put it this way. He was being offered a good amount of money to face Dillian Whyte and Tony Bellew. But he turned those fights down. So you have to imagine that he's being offered at least as much to fight Wilder, if not more. So that is what it is. It's the risk reward. Against Wilder, he feels like, okay, it's a bigger risk than those two fights, but the reward is also bigger. So let me go ahead and take it. He's not going to go and turn down Bellew and Whyte and then fight Wilder for free. That's ridiculous. But Fury he talks a lot of BS a lot of the time, you know. And I do like Tyson Fury. I do think he's good for the game. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. Don't get me wrong. I like Tyson Fury. I'm glad he's back. I think he's very talented. I think he's great for the game of boxing. I like the fact that he's outspoken. I like the fact that he's not politically correct. But I have to be real about the guy. He talks a lot of BS too. And he has a lot of envy towards some of his rivals. He's also, to some extent, envious of Wilder, although not as envious as he is towards Joshua. You know, for obvious reasons. Joshua's got more than Wilder. But he's been disparaging of both of them. He's called Wilder a joker and a fraud and a bum and all that kind of stuff in the past too. Yeah, he's called Wilder a bum. In fact, it might even be in this interview here where he calls Wilder a bum. Yeah, well, he calls him an idiot here. He calls Wilder an idiot. Yeah, I'll do the same with this other idiot as well, Deontay Wilder. Yeah. Saying that he will do the same as he did to Klitschko. So, yeah, he's just one of them type of guys, like a Muhammad Ali, who was always degrading his opponents. Although Ali, I think, was doing it for some of the same reasons. I think Ali went extra hard on Joe Frazier because the general public, particularly white people, were backing Joe Frazier. And so Ali saw Joe Frazier as representative of the racist American establishment. That's how he saw Frazier in his head. Even though he knew Frazier personally and he knew Frazier was a good guy, he hated the support that Frazier had because Frazier was supported by the racist establishment in America at the time. You know? So I don't think he hated Frazier. He just hated what Frazier represented in the eyes of the public in America, who were deeply racist, you know, in the 60s and early 70s. So, you know, there was some similar elements going on there, but in terms of their personality types, there's similarities between Ali and Fury because both of them were, let's face it, kind of bullies. Yeah, Fury does like to bully opponents. He does like to mentally dominate them before he gets in the ring and physically dominates them. And Ali was the same. You know, sometimes you don't think of Ali as a bully because he was funny, because he was always wisecracking and making all these jokes and stuff like that. But what he was really doing was bullying, belittling, and humiliating and frustrating and upsetting his opponents, being disrespectful. That's what Ali was doing. And yes, it was funny. I certainly found it funny. Hilarious, the stuff Ali used to say. But he was bullying. I mean, he was bullying. It's what the wise guys, the Italian mob guys used to call breaking your balls. You know, I'm just breaking your balls a little bit. I'm just breaking your balls. Come on, forget about it. And all that type of business. That's what Ali was doing. He was breaking the balls. You know, taking the piss. He was bullying. But Ali, even though he was a bully, he wasn't a coward. Because sometimes people think if you're a bully, that means you're someone that falls apart when someone puts it on you. No, Ali had tremendous heart. He was one of them bullies that actually has a heart and is brave. And the same with Tyson Fury. Yeah, he's a bully. He bullies his opponents. I'm not saying he's a bully in real life necessarily, although I've heard certain things. But certainly when it comes to his opponents, he bullies his opponents, or he tries to bully his opponents. But Tyson Fury's got heart. Yeah, if you've seen him hit the canvas, he gets back up and he fights on. From early on in his career, Tyson Fury had to show heart. So his heart is not in question. The man has got a massive heart in that ring. He's a fighting man. But he is a bully, like Ali. And there's a lot of similarities in terms of the personalities of the two men. You know, they were raised in very different circumstances, but the base personality of both men is similar in a lot of ways. Anyway, let me stop waffling here. Drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel about everything I talked about in this video. All right, it's happening. I'm out.